Hello and welcome to the Franchising 360 show. Every Friday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, we are going to take a 360-degree look at the world of franchising. Franchising is this massive industry that is literally right under our noses. We don't even know is there. For instance, when you hear the word franchise, what comes to mind? Go ahead, shout out some of your answers. What do we got? I heard a McDonald's, a Taco Bell, maybe even a pizza, one or two mixed in there. Those are great answers, and guess what? They're all correct, so great job. Food is the first place almost everyone goes when they think about franchising. Let's be honest, folks, fast food can be scary from a business model standpoint and even scarier when you see the investment. These are what we call two-comma investments, things that cost several $1,000,000 just for one location. Now, if this is all franchising is, then it's going to rule out almost all of us. But what if I told you fast food is just a tiny portion of the franchise brands that are out there? In fact, did you know there are over 4,000 franchise brands in the United States? And retail-based brands represent less than half of that total. Now, while fast food can in fact be multi-million-dollar investments, the entry-level financial requirement to own a franchise is typically only a fraction of that, and at times, the investment can be even under 6 figures. Suddenly, not so far out of reach, right? Becoming a franchise owner is actually way more attainable than most people realize. The Franchising 360 show is going to explain all the nuances to determine if franchise ownership is for you, and if so, how do you find your best franchise to own? What are the things you need to consider, questions you need to ask, the process to take? But because this show, again, is taking a 360-degree view of franchising, we don't stop there. We're going to talk about all of the best practices needed to be successful once you are a franchise owner. BizTV viewers may already have a startup business. Some of the growth tactics used for a franchise owner might also benefit you. But what if you have larger goals for your existing business? We're actually going to talk about how you can turn that local business into a national or potentially international franchise brand. None of it is really that out of reach, especially when you're able to have the experts give you the entire view of what that process is like. So, who are you going to hear from to gain all of this knowledge? Well, to start with, little old me. My name is Tim Parmeter, and I'm the founder and CEO of a company called FranCoach. What is FranCoach? Well, in the franchise industry, you hear terms like franchise broker or consultant. We tend to use the word coach, but these are people that are here for the sole purpose of helping you determine if you should own a franchise, and if so, which one. Now, I've been doing this for over 10 years. We've built the FranCoach team to over 20 different people with 100 years of combined franchise experience. In addition to FranCoach, I also host one of the very first podcasts in franchising called Franchising 101. We have over 200 episodes, again, all designed to help people learn more about franchising. But don't worry, folks, it is not just me. We will bring in some of the top industry experts to share with you as well. We will learn about all the different industries, different brands. We're going to hear from successful franchise owners to know how they got there, funding specialists, and top suppliers. You know, those companies behind the scenes but actually help franchisors and franchisees succeed. We're going to go over a ton of hidden things you need to understand about franchising, things you didn't know you needed to know. All the things that you will need once you become a franchise owner, like providing marketing expert, hiring best practices, and operational efficiencies. What about your existing business that you may want to turn into a franchise? Should you do this? What are the steps, and who can help you on this journey? We will have a parade of people coming in here to join us throughout the show each and every Friday night to help educate you on all things franchising. Coming up after the break is the real superstar of this show. We're going to bring on our co-host. This person has been in franchising even longer than me, mostly on the franchisor side, so she's going to provide a different perspective to all the things you need to know when considering the franchise industry. In addition to years of working for franchises, both big and small, she has her own consulting business called Create a Shift. Create a Shift works with franchisors and franchisees to help with things like lead generation, sales training, franchise development, and overall brand growth. Oh, and if that's not enough, guess what? She's also my wife. So that should be super fun, at least in theory. We're going to find out. So after the break, Danielle Wright will be joining us, and we're going to dive into what franchising is at its core, more about our stories. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. And now is just the absolute best part of this show for me. We get to bring out our co-host, my beautiful and amazing wife, Danielle Wright. Danielle, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I don't think I had a choice.
Well, you were the ride today, so...
True, because I live here.
Yes, you do. Yes.
And where do you live exactly?
Well, sometimes I live here. Sometimes I live in Arizona. But
I think that's important to share.
it is important to share. But first, you know what we get to talk about now?
Sadly.
You.
Yay.
Your favorite topic.
Fun.
Awesome. So, as you and I know, you've been in franchising a long time. Most people have a unique journey into this industry. So give us your little scoop. How long have you been doing this in franchising and how did you get started?
I've been in franchising way too long, so we're not going to discuss that. You don't discuss a woman's age. It's not appropriate.
29, right?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Right. I started in franchising. I lost my job at the...
You weren't able to find it?
Correct. Lost it pretty deeply because of recession and such.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I was one of those job searchers. Found an opportunity within a franchise based here where I live in lovely Florida. Yep, that's where I am. And took a shot and applied, and now here I am multiple years later working with multiple franchise organizations and on this show with you.
Multiple franchise organizations. So could one say in franchising you get around?
Yes.
That's awesome. How did you know anything about franchising when you got started, or was there any sort of intent to get into the industry?
There wasn't. Well, maybe there was. So I was in commercial real estate development for a long period of time. And with a recession, everyone was losing houses. And obviously, we weren't building a lot of shopping centers. And so there was a role with this organization that I thought I could use my real estate experience and kind of help franchise owners find where they were going to put their next real estate location. So I jumped in as a young person would do, gave a lot of excitement, learned a lot of things. And then I was asked to sell franchises, like talk to people that wanted to own this business. And funny enough, I was good at it. Funny or not funny. And then I worked my way into becoming a consultant, working for franchisors, like inside. I was like, what I like to call it, talking to those that are interested in any type of franchise industry. So I've worked with a bunch of different franchises that we'll not name on this show just yet, but we can talk industries. And I love that side of trying to help people figure out if it's the right opportunity for them or not. So,
well, I was just going to ask, what's been the best part of this industry for you?
The best part is the community. It's cheesy, sounds cheesy. We say community in a lot of things, but I built a large network of people, as well as I do. This isn't a subject that we get to talk about with our friends and our family because they don't really quite understand what it is that we do.
Right.
You kind of glaze over, like franchising. If I hear the word franchising one more time, I'm going to do what exactly? So we've built a very strong network of friends and colleagues. Sidebar note, we are and have been franchise owners. So that's something to talk about later. But super excited to be able to continue to grow with that community here in franchising. That's my favorite part.
That's your favorite part?
My favorite part.
The community.
The community.
What, of all the places you've worked, right? You've been to big franchises, like massive ones. You've been at like brand new, super duper, like brand new ones.
Baby businesses.
Baby, micro emerging.
Yeah.
I believe you actually like made up that phrase.
I did.
And if not, we're going to say that you did.
Of course we are.
Which is perfect.
Because that's our gig.
Exactly. What's, anything that you would say that you've learned from the big franchises or the small franchises that have been really different?
Good question. Can I elaborate? Do you mind if I steal the show for a second?
Go right ahead.
So
you drove.
I mean, all franchises are basically the same. You strip away what they do, the service they provide, all of those things. The biggest difference is the engagement from the franchise system. So as you said, micro emerging is what I like to call less than 50 operating units. They are still very much tied to a franchise partnership. And that's something that's important to me. Like you can call me a franchisee and a franchisor, and that feels very terse. And so I'm not a big fan of those types of relationships. I like the fact that I can be a partner, and like we are here currently partnering, and kind of guiding someone on that journey. Because business ownership, as we like to say, is you're not in business for yourself, but by yourself.
yourself.
And so ultimately in franchising with the community component, and no matter the size of the brand, you should still feel like you're part of a partnership and a friendship with that franchise.
Exactly. And you had a couple terms, franchisee, franchisor.
Yes.
All of those things and some of the terms, we're going to define those and more later when we come back on the Franchising 360 show. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. We are talking about all things franchising, and we talked about two very simple terms that we want to make sure everybody understands to at least have some clue what the heck we're talking about. Danielle, you talked about franchisor and franchisee. Were you not pronouncing things properly, or are we saying that for real reason? What does that mean?
Franchisor is the brand that sets up the business model, and the franchisee is the partner that executes the business model.
So McDonald's would be the franchisor.
Yes.
And if I owned McDonald's...
Which you don't.
But maybe one day.
Not really.
Okay. But if I did, I would be the franchisee.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
So hold
Thanks.
on. What does that mean to you?
I wasn't really listening.
Okay.
What
Are
does
you
it-
a franchisor? Are you a franchisee? You said you were a broker.
I'm neither.
But I don't understand that.
Yeah. So I am the person that helps Bob over here think that he wants to maybe own a franchise. I help Bob figure out which is the best franchise for Bob, which is going to be probably totally different than Sally or Bill or Topher, right? It's going to be totally different for each person.
How do you do that?
Well, that's a great question.
Why is it a great question?
It's really not, but I was just trying to make you feel better. It's our first show, so to build your confidence.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So we work with people. We'll go it's kind of old school. We do this thing called have a conversation.
Shocker.
And we ask questions.
No way.
But here's the biggest part. When we ask the questions, we actually listen to what they say. I mean, not always. Sometimes they're boring, but every now and then we really do listen to try to understand really what they're all about and what do they like. Because it's totally different than the corporate world, right? So you're really trying to figure out what do you actually want to get your butt out of bed every day and go do? What are you good at? The people you're around, and then use that to match them up with franchises.
So how do you find these people?
Well, most of them are people that watch our Franchising 360 show and are
Okay.
like, oh my gosh, they start calling in.
Is that what we're telling them? Like, hey, everybody on the show right now, you should really reach out and talk to you?
I don't know that they're going to want to after this
I
show,
know,
but
'cause I mean-
possibly. No, that and as you know, with franchising and franchisors and franchise owners, all the different kind of marketing things, there's always a handful of things that you've got going on to find people to talk to. But it's smart, talented people usually
Oh,
been
like me.
Yes. Smart, talented people that are, been working for somebody else. Maybe they got laid off during the recession.
Yes.
Perhaps, as an
Correct.
example, and are just tired of working for somebody else.
Is that you? You got tired of working for somebody else?
I didn't get tired of working. Well, I got tired of working for somebody else, but my transition happened because the place I worked basically imploded and everybody lost their job.
That's it? That's all I got? That's the only story you're going to give about
Well, the office committed millions of dollars worth of fraud.
that? Love this. Go.
Yeah. And so all the non-fraud doers also got let go because the whole office got shut down. And we were all in a transition and trying to figure out what the heck are we doing next.
So who found you? Who taught you this lovely brokering thing?
So there was somebody at the beginning kind of gave me a couple little tricks and tips, but
I heard you about the tricks and the
the
tips.
most part, for the most part, it was just good. Probably a lot of BizTV viewers that have their own business. You just I'm going to figure this out and get started. And as it turns out, like you, I can talk. And
That's not a dig at all. It's fine.
no, I listened. So there is that, but it was really just kind of desperation and dumb luck. I didn't know anything about franchising either, and here we are 10 years later.
Riveting,
I know.
as you can tell.
Thanks. So
So what's the purpose of you being on this show, me being on this show? What are we going to tell these viewers?
well, we're going to impart literally, years and years and years of knowledge about franchising. And I think, as you know, from doing this so long, people come into this industry as an owner in particular because they want more control over their life, their freedom, their flexibility, all of those things. And this is a pathway that most people don't know that they can have.
And I'm done. Mic drop. You know.
So, yeah, I know. So you're supposed to keep the conversation going.
Because I don't know what else to ask you.
Oh my God. So, what was the last one I said? Control?
Control.
Right.
Work-life balance. Life-work balance.
Yes. So part of that control is we all talk about work-life balance. Franchising tends to bring people more life-work balance. It allows them to do things that are just insane when you think about, I don't know, maybe getting married to somebody that you live in a different state from them. Right? So maybe right after this break, we'll go into what the heck that's all about.
And why.
And the why is the big question.
And how.
And a whole bunch more right after this on the Franchising 360 show. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter. This is the wonderful co-host, Danielle Wright, talking about all things franchising. We kind of left off talking about one of the main reasons people go into franchising, which is control, freedom, flexibility. But what are they really kind of looking for? We talk about work-life balance, Danielle, but you always say they're looking for
life-work balance.
Right. So can you kind of talk about how, like, just in our lives, maybe just give an example of how being in franchising and we work together, we both have separate businesses, but there's a lot of crossover with that. And like, how do we balance all of this and our families and lives and all of that?
I'm not sure that we balance it, but we try really hard. We do a lot of the same things. I'm supportive of you and what you do. It's kind of great to know what goes on the inside of the franchise system to kind of help you understand how to help people decide if the franchise is the right opportunity. Our work-life balance is turned to life-work balance because we don't work regular hours. We're not punching into a job at 8:30 in the morning and checking out for our hour lunch, even though I do put an hour lunch on my calendar every day. But we wrap up our days at 4 o'clock, or you have your son that you pick up from school. I have mine that I pick up from school. Like, I think a lot of our viewers can really attest to, hey, I want to go take a doctor's appointment. Don't want to take an entire day off. So it's been really good for us as a family. We've been franchise owners. We own our businesses, and it kind of gives us the ability to have a life that is, supported by work instead of work being our lives.
And who doesn't want to miss out on a car line? Let's be honest.
Car lines are awesome.
That's the best thing ever, right? So and having kind of that flexibility to do those things. The other thing that we do maybe is a little bit unique is we actually don't live in the same state.
I know. But this is not a therapy show. This is a franchising show.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll stop talking about my mother then, right? So, but it does. Like, we couldn't do that with real jobs, right?
Yes.
It's helped and again, it really becomes that family business where our kids, yours is 16, mine is 11. They know, like, a ridiculous.
We can't forget the 23-year-old. Sorry. Like, she'll feel bad if she's listening.
Oh my
gosh,
gosh, Stephanie, we love you.
Like, totally included.
The two at home still are living it all of the time, right? But just how they have learned about business and whether they ever go into one or not, it's been really cool to see like the effect of franchising even on them. Yeah,
and we met in franchising, so it's not like we started out as this great star-eyed couple and we grew into doing all of these things. Wait,
how did we meet? Do you remember?
I do remember.
Well,
do you remember?
I remember it like it was 6 years ago.
Oh, yes. We were at a franchise conference. I was working for a franchisor. You were a broker, consultant, coach, whatever thing we're calling them today. And the cheesy line that he came to me and said was,
I've had a crush on you for 3 years.
And then I looked at him like, who are you and why are you saying this to me? And then it's been history ever since. So franchising really truly is a family business. We meet, we marry, and
let's be honest. If you're sitting at home at now 8:20 Eastern on a Friday night and you're like, man, I wish I had a date, try that line.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It works.
Yes.
It worked in your favor.
I think so. I think so. So some of the things we want to talk about on this show moving forward is Next week, it's always about the why, right? So why might somebody become a franchise owner?
Yes.
Why might somebody become a franchisor?
Because that's fun.
It sounds super cool. And even kind of why would I do a franchise versus just starting my own thing?
Lots of reasons.
Lots and lots of reasons.
I'm full of those answers.
Oh, so that's a great teaser for next week. But
that means I have to come back. Am I being invited back?
you're my ride.
Okay.
So yes.
There we go.
So she'll probably be back. But the other thing we want people to do is, let's be honest, there's a zillion things we could talk about.
Yes.
And heavens knows we can talk.
We have been talking.
But we want help.
We do need help.
We need lots of help.
Lots of help.
So what are some things that you guys want to hear us talk about? Send us a message on our website, which is cleverly titled The Franchising Show. Oh, wait.
See?
Oh, crap.
He messed it up.
The Franchising 360 Show.
What is that again?
Great answer. Great question. The Franchising360show.com. Send us a question. If we answered that online, we're going to give you a shout out, and we're going to give you, this would be awesome if we actually had them done yet. We will send you your own Franchising 360 Show mug. And that's extra special for me because Danielle's the one that's going to have to do all the work on that.
I love that. I love doing all the work.
Aw.
I just show up here.
That's awesome. Until next week, next Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. She's Danielle. I'm Tim, and this is the Franchising 360 Show.